Welcome to the Life Makeovers podcast. My name is Cindy D. Whitmer, and I am the Midlife Makeover Coach, helping you turn your midlife into your best life, one step at a time. Through powerful conversations, my own midlife roller coaster story, and over 3 decades of helping people transform their lives through counseling and coaching, I am on a mission to help you create your own definition of success and happiness. Thank you for being here. Hey, everybody, welcome to the Life Makeovers podcast. Thank you so much for being here. One of the things that I hear about and talk about all the time with women in midlife is their concerns around aging and health and how to be healthy and how to stay vital and young and all of these things. And I've had several different conversations around all of that with you over the years, and certainly discussed it a lot in my coaching groups and with my private clients as well. One of the things that I love to roll around to every year at the end of the year, this time period, is to really encourage you all to do kind of a year-end review. And I'm not going to go into it extensively in this episode, but just want to invite you to think back over this last year and look at your life in every area, your relationships, your finances, your career, your personal development, your environments, and your financial life. Gosh, I don't know which one I didn't say. Your health, and your health, of course. And think about, what went well for you this year in each of those areas, what did not go as you were hoping this year in each of those areas. And I would guess that for many of you, one of the things you want to continue to remain in focus about as we move into a new year is keeping your health or getting your health in a really great place. Because aging can be upsetting to many of you, it can be frightening to many of you. And it's just a topic of great concern. So today I want to talk to you about brain health. Actually, it's something I haven't dove into very much over the years, some here and there. And I've even had a couple of guests on the podcast over the last couple of years who discussed brain health in very extensive ways. So you can go back and find those episodes if you really want to hear more from other experts. But let's talk about some basic things that you can do for your brain health, because it all starts in our brain, right? Our brain, our mind, our brain has a great connection to the body. They all work together, all the pieces work together. And you can be extremely thin and strong and all of those kinds of things, and really look years younger than your age, but you at the same time you could have not great brain health. I'm kind of stumbling through this. I'm kind of wondering about my own brain health right at the moment. I'm just kidding. I hope you're laughing with me, because laughter to me is one of the best medicines in the world. So anyway, thank you. Please forgive me for my stumbling. Ba-deep, 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 ba-deep. Okay, so brain health. So anyway, keeping our mind sharp, and keeping our cognitive functioning at a really excellent level is going to help with everything else, right? It's going to help us socially, it's going to help us physically, it's going to help us spiritually, it's going to help us financially. It just helps in every area, because when we can function well cognitively, we can do almost anything, right? But we start to lose that, then things can start to unravel for us in other areas. So let's look at brain health. Now, I think all of these things are fun. To enhance our brain health, there's 4 suggestions I'm going to give you right off the bat. 1, puzzles and brain teasers. Puzzles and brain teasers. I'll tell you what, there's nothing I would rather do almost with some free time by myself than sit and work on a jigsaw puzzle. It's just one of my very favorite things. There is such satisfaction in looking at this big old pile of 1,000 pieces and eventually being able to connect every single one of those together to make a beautiful picture. And it does take some definite cognitive skill and strategy for sure. And I love being challenged by it. And I love the satisfaction of putting the pieces together. Some of you are big time crossword puzzle people. I do not like to do crossword puzzles, but I admire those of you who do those and do them well. I think that shows a lot of intelligence being able to do that. I went through a Sudoku puzzle phase too, and some of you love those, right? Figuring out where the 9 numbers each go to make the rows all different and so forth. Really interesting. And then a lot of you do Wordle and find that so much fun. All these things are good little brain teasers and different kinds of puzzles to do to enhance your brain health. Number 2 is learning a new skill. Maybe you've never learned how to paint, or maybe you would like to learn how to build a birdhouse or a house, or maybe doing some kind of mechanical work that you've never done before. Some of you, a friend of mine has recently been learning how to do French cooking. It's just interesting, right? New skills that we can learn. I haven't painted, but one of my favorite things to do now that I haven't done in quite some time is color in my adult coloring books. I have an adult coloring book that has like positive affirmations and messages in it. And I have this whole big set of colors that I got from my great aunt when she passed away. And there's something so very therapeutic and rhythmic about coloring those pages. And yet I'm also, it's stimulating my brain because I'm trying to put ideas together about how to color and what ways to do it to make it pretty or make it look cool from my perspective. And the possibilities are endless. And it's just a lot of fun. So learn some kind of new skill or do something, artistic. Like maybe you want to learn how to do pottery, anything like that. Number 3 is memory techniques. Okay. I know I have a friend who is a big time poet and she can recite a long poem and even do, be kind of acting it out, that kind of thing. Or memorizing, song lyrics or prayers, or if you play a piano or other instrument, like playing music by heart, things like that are awesome. One of the things that I strive to do is remember my passwords. Like I have a ton of accounts online because of my business, especially. And then, of course, there's all the regular stuff that everybody has too: bank accounts, credit cards, all that stuff, store accounts, things like that. But anyway, I have so many passwords and I make them all different, of course. But there's some accounts that I get into on such a regular basis that I have those passwords memorized and I keep. I try to keep those in my mind and not look them up if I don't have to before I get into an account. And part of that is just to keep my brain strong. And then numbers. When I was a kid, I remember memorizing people's phone numbers. Before we had cell phones, I remember I had a lot of people's phone numbers memorized. So I'm not so great at that anymore. But one of the things I do memorize are like people's birth dates and things like that. Like I probably know more than the average person of people's birthdays throughout the year or their anniversaries, things like that. So there's lots of things that you can do to, enhance your memory, to really work that brain. And then number 4 is reading and critical thinking. Well, I love to read books, and I read books related to, transformation, self development, personal growth, spirituality, things like that, inspiration. And I learn and I learn and I learn and I learn, and I just love it. I love to keep learning through reading. And some of you are in book clubs and you have discussion groups around things you read as well. The other thing, the critical thinking piece for me, one of my favorite things to do is to play games. And some of the games I play, there is some strategy involved, and I love that. And another game I've been playing recently with my husband on a very regular basis is Mexican Train Dominoes. Maybe you've all played it. And when you get caught with tiles or dominoes at the end, you have to add all these numbers up. And he'll say, "Oh, get out your phone and we'll use the calculator." I'm like, "No, no, no, I'm going to use my brain." And so I will do the math as fast as I can to add up those dominoes, to get the score, using my brain instead of a machine to do it. So there's lots of little ways that you can just go through your regular life and use your brain. Just keep using it. It's like this muscle that needs to be used to stay healthy. So, in addition to those 4 things, there is tons of research on the importance of being a lifelong learner. And this is part of brain health as well. You never want to stop learning. Even if you think you know it all by now because you're the age that you don't. And you can learn something. And so, with those, the medical profession encourages us to engage in educational activities for one. So go to a discussion group or go to lectures or attend classes or workshops of some kind, or purchase courses that you can go through online to learn something new. But get yourself always engaged in more education about something, anything you're interested in. Maybe it's a subject you've never known anything about. Maybe it's something you are super passionate about and you just keep digging deeper to learn more. That's kind of how I am. I just keep digging deeper to learn more about the things I'm passionate about. But definitely engage in educational activities. For those of you who live in university towns, if you're of retirement age, some universities even let retired people attend their classes for free, just so they can listen to the lectures and engage in learning. So you might look into that and see if that's an option in your area. I know that's an option at the University of Kansas in Lawrence, where I live. And we also have a library that is a nationally awarded library that's so fantastic. They're always having classes or lectures or discussion groups or things to do to engage in, educational conversations, interesting dialogue, learning, learning, learning. Number 2, another great way to enhance your brain health is to learn a new language. Now, I've got to admit, I have not done this. I have traveled outside of the United States several times. In every country I've gone to, I've learned a few words, a little bit of language while I've been there, but I've honestly never taken a language class except when I was a freshman in college and I tried Intro to Spanish. And it was not good. I didn't know anything except what the Spanish words I remember from watching Sesame Street when I was a little girl. And the professor, literally, from the moment that class started, never said a word in English. And I was just lost continuously and dropped out after 3 weeks. There was all this Spanish conversation going on around me. And I was just like going, huh? Huh? I didn't know anything. You should have seen his face when I walked up to him with my dropout slip. I just handed it to him and he just grinned and nodded and signed his name. Anyway, but I admire those of you who can pick up a new language and do it well. Gosh, one of my kids in my blended family, I think she can speak 4 or 5 languages, like pretty, like quite a bit. In, it's really impressive. And my husband speaks some French, so sometimes he'll speak French to me, and then think I know what he's saying. Anyway, I digress. Go learn a new language if you really want to enhance your brain health. And then number three, stay engaged. Just stay engaged. Stay in the conversation and current events, or stay engaged in your relationships. What's going on. I think one of the best ways to keep your brain health really supported in this area, and a way to learn, be a lifelong learner, is to have people in your life that stay engaged with, who are of all generations, because every generation has another perspective on everything in the world, everything in your culture. They just have their own ideas, and everybody's unique anyway. It's just so interesting to hear other people's perspectives about life, and it just can bust your ideas wide open, so you're thinking differently, and considering all kinds of things, whether you're going to agree with them or follow them or not. But it's just a way to stay engaged and open your mind broader, and stimulate you in ways that will really keep you healthy with your brain. So the other thing that the research says over and over and over and over again, too many sources to even acknowledge them, is exercise. That exercise is one of the best ways to support really good brain health. So keep moving. And hey, you don't have to climb a mountain or run a marathon to support your brain through exercise. A good walk, 10, 20 minutes a day, um, some yoga, some stretching, some strength training. Try some machine in your gym that you've never gotten on before, maybe an elliptical machine or a stairmaster or something, or treadmill, just to try something different. Because again, whenever we try something different, our brain is stimulated and it fires up, the neurons, and gets things going. Another way to use your brain differently is to, like, if you're, whatever your dominant hand is, to use the other one sometimes for things. So if you're playing basketball, you're dribbling the basketball all the time with your right hand, just start dribbling it with your left hand, or brush your teeth with your left hand instead of your right hand, or even turn a doorknob. Anything, just make sure you're using both sides of your body, because that connects with the opposite sides of your brain. Okay, so this is all really good. Another thing, another simple thing any of you can do, is when you're going somewhere in your town or community area you've lived in, maybe you've lived there for 10 years, you're always going the same roads to go to the grocery store, the same roads to go to the bank, the same roads to go to your friend's house, the same roads to get to work, whatever, is drive in a whole different direction, or dare yourself to find like a whole neighborhood you've never driven through, or a street you've never tried. I mean, what's the big deal? Just go another direction. You'll see things you've never seen. You might get lost and need to rethink and get yourself back to a main road or something. And that's good for your brain too. That's that critical thinking we talked about a little bit ago. So all of these things are great for your brain, and they help reduce your risk of Alzheimer's, which is so, so, so wonderful and important. And so uh, teaching yourself to focus better will also keep your brain sharp as well. So anything you can do to focus yourself, whether it's some meditation or some stress reducing activities, or eliminating distractions around you so you can really hone in on something, wonderful. So remember that your brain health is one of the most critical kinds of health to pay attention to, but one of the least talked about, really. We talk about other kinds of health in our culture, our society, in a lot of ways, but this one maybe not so much. But again, keeping our brain excited and stimulated and always learning new things and on fire is a great way to slow the aging process and make your life better in so many different ways. So, again, as you're reflecting on this year of what went well and what did not go well, think through that a little bit and then think about what you want next year to look like in every area of your life, and how having, really strong brain health and overall excellent health and aging will make a big difference. I know it will. So, another thing I highly recommend is that you grow your love for yourself. I say it almost every time these days, but it's so, so, so important. One of the greatest ways to love yourself fully, of course, is to take really good care of your brain. But there are other ways as well. And you can learn all the new things I'm teaching in my free masterclass, How to Love Yourself Fully and Live on Your Terms in Midlife Without Guilt. Yes, that's right. We can love ourselves without guilt. So go to cindydwhitmer.com/love yourself when you have an hour, and take my class and let me know what you think of it, what you learn from it, and if I can serve you more. I would love to. So enjoy that free class. Thank you for listening today, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye bye. Thank you so much for listening to the Life Makeovers podcast. Please like, subscribe, and share this podcast with those that you think would also benefit from what we're doing here. And I will talk to you again soon.